Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, quick question. What if I told you the single most accessible, most researched, most universally beneficial form of exercise costs absolutely nothing, requires zero equipment, and most of us are still somehow doing it wrong?
Right, and I'll add this. The World Health Organization lists physical inactivity as one of the leading risk factors for global mortality. Not cancer, not smoking, inactivity. And yet walking, which directly addresses that, gets dismissed as not a real workout.
It's almost insulting to walking, honestly. Like, walking has been out here doing the work, and we just keep looking past it for the next thing with a monthly subscription fee.
Exactly. So today we are making the case for walking. The actual science behind it, why most people are leaving serious benefits on the table, and how to do it in a way that genuinely moves the needle. Whether you're 32 and chasing kids or 62 and protecting your joints, this one is for you.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, because I think a lot of people hear walking and their brain files it under what I do to the mailbox and back. It doesn't feel like exercise.
And that's the misconception we need to dismantle first. Walking is a full-body metabolic event. It engages your cardiovascular system, your musculoskeletal system, your lymphatic system. Dr. Alyssa Eppel at UC San Francisco has linked regular walking to reduced cellular aging markers. We're talking about telomere length. That's not mailbox stuff.
Telomeres. For anyone who just glazed over, those are basically the little protective caps on your DNA. Shorter telomeres, faster aging, longer you're in better shape biologically.
Precisely. And a study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that people who walked at least 7,000 steps a day had significantly lower all-cause mortality risk. Not 10,000, 7,000, which is actually achievable.
Okay, wait, the 10,000 steps thing. Can we talk about that for a second? Because I've been guilted by that number for years.
Yes, and here's what's actually fascinating. The 10,000 step figure originated from a 1960s Japanese marketing campaign for a pedometer. It was called the Manpo-kei, which translates roughly to 10,000 step meter. It wasn't derived from research.
A marketing campaign. I've stress watched that step counter at 9:45 p.m. because of a pedometer ad from the 1960s. That is remarkable.
Welcome to Wellness History. But the good news is the actual research, including work from Harvard Medical School, suggests meaningful benefits begin well below 10,000. The relationship between steps and benefit is a curve, not a cliff.
Here's the thing, though. Even knowing that, I think people still walk without really thinking about how they're walking. And this is where I feel like we actually underuse it as a tool.
Right, let's unpack that. There's a significant difference between incidental walking, parking further away, moving between rooms, and intentional walking, where you are managing pace, posture, and duration. The benefits compound differently.
Pace feels like the big one to me. Like, I have a neighbor who walks every morning and she moves at approximately the speed of continental drift, which is lovely. But is it doing the same thing?
Not quite, no. And this isn't about being cruel to slow walkers. It's about understanding what pace actually unlocks. Research from the University of Sydney, led by Dr. Emmanuel Stamatakis, found that brisk walking, defined as a pace where you can still hold a conversation but feel somewhat breathless, was associated with significantly greater reductions in cardiovascular disease risk compared to slow walking.
So the talk test is actually a real thing. You should be able to speak but not deliver a TED Talk.
That's a perfectly useful heuristic. And if you want to get more precise, you're roughly targeting 100 steps per minute for what researchers classify as moderate intensity. You can actually count for 30 seconds and multiply by 2.
I love that. Zero technology required. Just your own brain and fingers.
Which brings us to something I want to flag for our listeners who may be newer to regular movement. You do not need to start at brisk. Consistency over intensity, especially early on. Dr. Michael Joyner at the Mayo Clinic has written extensively about how even gentle, regular movement creates compounding cardiovascular adaptations over time.
And if you're in the sandwich generation dealing with aging parents, maybe managing your own joint issues, brisk is relative. Brisk for your body, not somebody else's.
Brilliant point, Emma. And speaking of joints, there's a persistent myth that walking is hard on knees. The evidence doesn't support that for most people. In fact, research published in Arthritis and Rheumatology found that regular walkers had lower rates of knee pain progression compared to sedentary individuals.
Y'all, walking is out here protecting your knees and we've been afraid of it. Okay, I need a moment.
It loads the cartilage, which actually requires movement to stay nourished. Cartilage doesn't have its own blood supply. It gets nutrients through compression and release. Walking provides that.
That is one of those facts that sounds completely backward until it makes total sense.
Right. Now here's where I want to push back slightly on something. There's a growing trend of framing walking as a cure for everything: stress, creativity, weight loss, longevity. And while the evidence is genuinely strong, I think we do listeners a disservice if we oversell it.
Thank you for saying that, because I have seen some walking content that implies if you just get your steps in, nothing else matters. And that's not the full picture.
It isn't. Walking is a powerful, accessible tool. It doesn't replace strength training for muscle mass. It doesn't fully address high cardiovascular fitness needs for everyone. And as a standalone weight loss strategy, the evidence is more modest than the marketing suggests. Stanford researcher Dr. Herman Pontzer's research on energy expenditure suggests the body adapts and compensates more than we might expect.
But as one piece of a real-life, real-person wellness approach, it's extraordinary. And the mental health piece. Can we talk about that? Because this one is personal for me.
Please.
On really hard days, and I've had a stretch of those, even a 15-minute walk genuinely shifts something. And I used to dismiss that as just getting out of the house. But there's actual science, right?
There is. A study from Stanford found that walking in nature specifically reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex regions associated with rumination, the repetitive negative thought loops. But even urban walking shows measurable cortisol reduction. And a meta-analysis in JAMA Psychiatry found physical activity, including walking, comparable to antidepressants for mild to moderate depression in some populations.
Not a replacement for anyone's clinical treatment. We are very clear on that. But that's not a nothing finding. That is a significant finding.
Absolutely. And for pre-retirees or empty nesters navigating identity shifts or life transitions, the cognitive benefits are equally compelling. Research from the University of British Columbia showed that regular aerobic walking increased the size of the hippocampus. That's the brain region central to memory and spatial navigation.
So it's not just good for you in a vague way, it is literally building your brain.
Literally. And on that note, and I realize we should flag this for anyone who's been enjoying the show, if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more people who need exactly this kind of practical, evidence-grounded conversation.
Yes, it takes about 3 seconds and it means the world to us. Okay, back to walking. Let's do practical. What does doing it right actually look like day to day?
A few things that often get overlooked. Posture matters more than people realize. Gaze forward, not down at your phone, shoulders back and relaxed. Engage your core slightly, not clenched, just awake. An arm swing is actually part of the mechanics. It helps propulsion and balance.
The phone thing is real. I catch myself hunched forward staring at my screen and I can feel it in my neck by the end.
And there's the missed opportunity of walking without audio sometimes. Research from Marilia Pezzo at Stanford found that creative thinking increased by an average of 81% during walking compared to sitting. But she noted the benefit was somewhat diluted when the walk was entirely consumed by input.
So the boring walk might actually be the productive one. Your brain is doing something while you think you're doing nothing.
Exactly, let it wander. Some of your best ideas may show up. And finally, terrain and surface variation. Flat pavement is fine, but introducing slight inclines or uneven ground, even occasionally, adds neuromuscular challenge and caloric demand that flat walking doesn't.
Even just taking a different route through the neighborhood. Small variable, real return.
Right, and for those who genuinely struggle to find the time, walking meetings, walking phone calls 10 minutes after lunch rather than 30 consecutive minutes you can't find. The research on exercise snacks, short bouts of activity throughout the day, from McMaster University suggests these accumulate meaningfully.
I have taken so many walking calls this year, and honestly, I'm a better conversationalist when I'm moving. I think I'm more present somehow.
So if you take one thing away today, and I do mean one, it's this. Pick a pace where you're slightly breathless, aim for consistency over distance, and treat walking as a real wellness practice, not a consolation prize for not going to the gym.
Y'all, walking is not the boring option. It's the underestimated one. And those are very different things. Start where you are, build from there, and know that the science is genuinely firmly in your corner on this one.
And if you need permission to count the walk to the coffee shop, consider it granted. Officially.
Okay, that's the most enthusiastic David has ever been about a coffee shop. We are ending on a high. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We'll see you next time on the Wellness Rhythm Show. This show is part of the VoxCrea.ai system. If you want a show like this for your organization, without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.ai and request a sample episode.